So here we go. Scrimmage 1. Mike Norvell sits at the podium. You want to hear what from the head coach?
Health-wise, got through it. Nobody's dinged that I'm aware of. Feeling pretty good. And a couple of minor bruises and things of that ilk. That's what happens in football, but we're all right. So from a health standpoint, I felt like we came out okay. Team was able to accomplish a lot of things. Felt good about the red zone. Felt like we were able to run the ball when we needed to run the ball, but the defense had their moments. This secondary has played well all camp. They continued to play well here. So I think the passing offense kind of fits and stops and starts, but we had its moments as well. I think the key is that the decision-making was good. DJ knew where to go with the football based on what he was seeing. Wasn't always successful, but right now it's important that he shows us he knows where to go and process things pretty quickly. So I feel good all in all about this. I think the defense had the better of it. But again, from a health standpoint, we came out all right, but we were able to run the ball a little bit too. So the offensive line stood out to me as well. Next question.
Okay, I like that. And I feel like if we look at the transcript tomorrow against the transcript of what you said just now, we might be able to find a couple of similarities, and I'm hoping
that'd be good. I feel good about that.
So I just looked up our media schedule, and it shows that Adam Fuller is available, but I don't see any of the other coordinator names. And that's okay because Mike does the offensive side, so you're going to get enough insights. So you can guess where my second question is. Adam Fuller's first go of it. So there's going to be questions not only about the scrimmage, but also how has camp gone so far?
What do I want to hear from Adam Fuller? We're really fortunate. We've got two really experienced corners and a very experienced safety who is very vocal and physical and kind of sets the tone for us on the back end there. We also have a lot of young guys that we're trying to get worked in there. It's you can't play everybody, but you have so many talented guys. You want to get them at bats as well. I don't have a lot of worries about our starters back there, so it's kind of a fine line between how much I need to see out of them in a situation like this, because they're going to need some reps in a game-like situation, but also how much do I want to get those young players out there and give them a crack at it and see where they are in their development. And I felt like we were able to do that today. Good health-wise, came out just fine. I thought the defensive front was dominant in passing situations. We were able to get after the passer. I thought that, I was really impressed. We know what we're going to get from Peyton, but I thought Marvin looked good tonight. I thought he really was explosive and made some plays for us, getting after the passer. So all in all, good day. Got to get better. I thought that, Blake played really well. This has been a good camp for him, just as it was in the spring. He's put on weight. And he's a guy that I think can play the run better than he has in the past and maybe ready to really shine this season. So I thought he stood out to me a little bit too. Cam Riley continues to be a guy that makes a lot of plays for us as well. He was very good in this scrimmage. So all in all, I thought we had a good day. Certainly room for improvement, but again, we're healthy and guys responded in the way that I wanted.
Outstanding. Just tremendous work. That would be good to hear. And if I said Atkins, thank you for covering me there on Fuller. The third question, I guess, as you've nailed it, this has been a great scrimmage. I think we're in a nice position here. When you start mining for information, what do you actually want to hear? And not from the press conferences, which they're actually pretty giving. We hear intel, and generally speaking, the coaches say what happened. Jimbo you might go like opposite day with Jimbo on some scrimmages. He's like, I thought it was a great scrimmage.
Yeah. And then you would hear from somebody that was there watching the scrimmage and they were like, they were awful.
Especially if he said, I really did. I'm like, I know you really did. Okay. So that means that you're lying to yourself, just like you're lying to us. So when you're mining for intel, what do you want to hear about either young players? It doesn't matter. Like, what players do you want to hear about and good news about?
Okay. Well, I think it's important that Wayne continue his progression here. I do think he needs to be a contributor and a player that they can feel like they can trust. So Wayne McCoy, I'd like to hear his name mentioned as having flashed again, even in this scrimmage setting. I think it's important that, though, Benson have a good day as well. I don't know that he will. I think this is the problem when we're looking for information regarding the offense. The strength of this team to me is the defense, okay? So we're going to start with that. So your strength early on is going to be your defense, I believe. if that's the case, then this offense, rightfully, because offense is always behind defense, especially early in camp and especially in the first scrimmage, or the offense is always behind the defense. It's much more complicated to run offense, and there's a lot of timing involved. And so a lot of times that takes a ton of reps in games like situations before it starts to hum. So I don't suspect that he's going to have glowing praise about the offense. The combination of the defense being the strength, veteran corners going against good but not elite wide receivers seems to favor the defense, right? So a quarterback, I want to hear about a quarterback that makes right decisions, maybe the play, process winning out over results. I want to hear a little bit about that because it gets easier when you're not going against Azareye'h Thomas and Fintrell Cypress. And you're not going against Darrell Jackson and Josh Farmer and Marvin Jones Jr. and Patrick Payton. Things get a lot easier. Like Georgia Tech don't have those dudes. Most people don't. So I just think that we're always going to be left wanting for, more offensive nuggets when we get done with these scrimmage wrap-ups with Coach. Because I think the defense is going to be better than the offense every time they line up. The offense will have its moments. We've seen that in camp so far. They have been able to run the ball at times, especially against that second group and that third group. If Darrell and Josh are out there and they've decided you're not blocking them today, you're not. And so that causes a lot of problems. And that doesn't mean this offensive line isn't good. It means those two dudes are going to play in the league, and they're big and really tough to block. So Patrick Payton, he's got a shot to get drafted in the first round, if not certainly the second round. So, man, good luck. That's just tough. If Azareye'h Thomas is going to be an NFL player, and he is, if Fintrell Cypress is going to get a chance to be an NFL player, and he will, if Shaheem Brown is going to be an NFL player, and he will, and Darrell and Josh and Patrick and probably Marvin are all going to go to the league, yeah, man, it's going to be really tough for your offense to move the ball with any degree of consistency. So I don't expect to hear that. Maybe that's not the answer to your question. I don't expect to hear that. I'd like to hear that in certain situations they were able to run the ball. I'd like to hear that Jalen Lucas continues to flash with that speed that takes your breath away. That means they put him in some sort of situation in which he was isolated on a linebacker and he was able to utilize that speed and elusiveness. That's got to work for them. That's going to be a part of what I think they do. I don't know, all the ways that they're going to use them. I'm not unveiling anything. But obviously you bring a speedster in like that, I think surely you're going to look to utilize them in a lot of ways. And so I'd like to hear a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, to your point, I'd love to hear about the processing of DJU. His head was in the right spot. His eyes were looking in the right place. Maybe he hits a couple of shots down the field, and that's generally speaking what we're going to need from him anyway. But that the accuracy was on point, the intensity was there. But I think the DJ stuff would be important to me if Mike is willing to give about, I thought he saw it very well. Like that would be the thing. I thought he saw it right, and he put the ball where it was supposed to be. For fourth down, maybe this is something we can start doing in the future more regularly, but I'll farm it out. Briley has a question. We're like fourth down, fan down. If you ask a question, then we could use that. Corey mentioned punt return being a concern. Was it a bad day or an actual area concern for you? What do you think? You think it's a blip or not?
Yeah, I don't have any concerns about punt return.
All right. Simple enough.